Are you trying to figure out the best time to go to visit Japan? Today we'll cover the best and worst times to travel to Japan. But don't worry if you can only travel during peak periods because you're tied to a school or a work schedule, because I'll be providing tips for making the most of your trip no matter when you go. So the busiest times where you'll be contending with both Japanese is late March, first of all. Students finish the school year and have this short period of time before they start the new school year in April. I know it's a different time frame than at least in America, but March to April is their school year. However, April is also a month of new beginnings in Japan, not just for the school year, but also for employees. The fiscal calendar starts at that time, and so it is very common for people to transition between jobs or start new jobs in April. And so that late March timeframe is when a lot of people do their last minute travel before they start something new. It's also cherry blossom time. And so I'll get into that in a little more detail, but it is a common time for foreign tourists to want to come see the beautiful views. So late March can get really, really crazy. Late April to early May is Golden Week. And so that is a week where different holidays are all put together in that one week, and everybody in Japan has it off. So, as you can imagine, it gets crazy. Avoid that time. The Obon Festival is another time in mid-August where it is a traditional Buddhist holiday where many Japanese people are traveling to return to their hometowns. And so the crowdedness in the transportation is pretty big. Tourist spots also get pretty crazy. Late December to early January. This time is busy because New Year's is the most important holiday of the year for a lot of Japanese people. It's not Christmas, but Christmas is there too. But New Year's is that holiday where people are traveling to see their families. And so hotels, transportation, everything gets booked up real fast. So schedule that in if you're going at that time. We actually did do this last year in 2023, and so I have all those tips coming up. Stay to the end to get into that. Now, here are some unpreferable weather times. It might not be as crazy, but weather-wise, it's just not the best. June to early July is the rainy season. You just don't know when it's going to be there, but that is the typical rainy season time. There are some exceptions to that rule, which is Okinawa. That tends to be a month earlier. So their rainy season tends to be May to late July, whereas Hokkaido, which is in the north, just seems to be exempt from it. So they don't really experience that rainy season. August, that is kid student vacation time. And so families will be traveling around. That's going to be busy. It's also getting hotter and hotter and more humid. I remember I used to go and it's hot and it's getting hotter by the year, it seems. So, what has my experience been for all the seasons? Because I have experienced all the different seasons there. If you have kids in school like I do, you often do not have a choice in when you go because the holiday breaks for your school are your holiday breaks, and that's when you can go. Spring and fall, if you can go, are my absolute favorite times because the weather is just the best. It's mild, it's nice, it's usually not rainy, the views are phenomenal. April, cherry blossom time. Like I said earlier, it gets pretty crazy, but if you can go, it is worth the crowds, in my opinion, because it is so pretty. I don't even know how to describe it because you really have to experience all the different cherry blossoms. You have your picnics under the cherry blossoms. It's absolutely great, fantastic. There's all kinds of cherry blossom seasonal things, food, everything. I would definitely recommend it. If you have a JR pass, you can make your way to an area where it is in full bloom because there is a short window of time where a specific region is in full bloom. When it rains, it's gone. And you could have planned a trip and you might miss the cherry blossoms. But like I said, if you have a JR pass, you can easily take a train ride and go see where it is in full bloom because if it's not in Tokyo, it's probably blooming somewhere else still. Fall has beautiful fall foliage and colors on all those leaves. Absolutely gorgeous. I've only experienced one fall in Japan, but it was amazing. The weather is so nice. And growing up in California, fall colors are pretty rare. I mean, you see them, but it's not just in that full depth of colors. It only comes in small bits. So to be able to experience that was phenomenal. Summer is the time most people go for the longest period of time. And that is what I experienced growing up. That was really the only time that I went because I could go for months at a time. And so my family would go visit our relatives, right? And it was hot as heck. It is so hot that you're living in AC, you step out to the outside world and you are drenched in sweat as soon as you walk out. It's like a wet blanket. Now, you might be going to get ice cream or something, so maybe it's worth it. But friends, it seriously is hot as heck. And if you want to try to go to amusement parks, I don't even know. I don't even know what to say. Maybe you're going to a water park, but just be prepared for the profuse amount of sweat that will come out of you. Now, you could get lucky at the beginning of June. I had a friend that just went at the beginning of June, right after school let out here, and said she had a phenomenal weather break because it rained maybe one day, 2 days, and it wasn't even a raining all day. It was just kind of a sprinkle. Maybe it poured a little bit, but then it let up and then they could go do their thing. Otherwise, it wasn't too hot. It was nice. They did their amusement parks and it was great. And so it could be just a great weather time. They did Disney, they did Universal. I have tip videos on all of those. So if you want those, be sure to go check them out. I have my tips and tricks all laid out for you. However, it is definitely riskier. It is up in the air. You don't know what you're going to get. You could get the rainy time, you can get the hot starting early. You don't know. But of all the times between June, July, August, early June is probably your best bet. Now, winter is actually quite nice. I was scared of it for a long time. I thought it was going to be cold. The California girl in me was like, I don't know if I can handle it. However, we went, like I said, this last December. So Christmas to New Year's, and we went to Tokyo, Nagoya, Osaka, and Kyoto. And if you go further north or higher altitude, I'm sure it would be colder. There could be snow, all of that. But we were actually totally fine. We did not freeze to death. We prepared accordingly. We had the little hand warmer packs, but we didn't even use very many of those. We just made sure we had nice big coats. And I mean, once you get inside to train stations and all that, it is heated up. So you don't have to worry. It's just really in the time periods that you're outside. We even went to amusement parks and it was totally fine. We survived. We were fine. We actually really liked it. My husband runs warm, and so he actually enjoyed the weather quite a bit. Now, with that said about the weather, this is the time when people travel to see their family. So if you are traveling anywhere on the Shinkansen, book that fast. I had relatives and my mom who kept checking up on us and saying, did you book your stuff? Did you book your tickets? Did you book your hotels? Did you book all that stuff? Because it can book up really, really fast. So make sure you plan accordingly if you are going at that busy time. We decided to go the Airbnb route, and so it wasn't too bad. I did book it pretty early to make sure we had something. And then if something else that I liked popped up, I could always cancel that because there was a long cancellation period. So I just wanted to book something just to make sure we had something. And I like the Airbnb route for our family, especially because it was the six of us. It was my parents plus our family of four. If you had a hotel room, especially during that period of time, that peak season, it was absurdly expensive, even for a standard hotel room. So this just made it way more affordable. You had the space, the kitchen, all that. It was really, really nice. Also, most people travel to see family, and we were doing that as well, but we were doing touristy things too. And so we ended up actually going to Legoland Nagoya on the day after Christmas, and it was practically empty. We probably lined up maybe five people in a line, at a time. And so we breezed through there. It was a fabulous day to go. Now, if it was maybe Tokyo Disney, that might be a different story. So check those crowd calendars before you go. But going to some of these really touristy amusement park kind of things, it might actually be really empty, or at least relatively empty on those times when it's really holiday times where people are seeing their family. So maybe like the day after New Year's, because it's not open New Year's, right? But as soon as they open, maybe it's okay. Check those crowd calendars and see, you might actually get really lucky and have some good days at the park. What I was most worried about, though, is the Shinkansen tickets because we had to get from one city to the next, and Shinkansen was the way to go. And so we ended up splurging on green passes, which is the first class passes for Shinkansen bullet trains. And I am so glad I did because almost all of it was booked up for the standard seats. Now, could we have ridden standby or open seating? We could have, but there were six of us. And so that would suck to go 2 hours or 3 hours without sitting together. Could we do it? Absolutely. But I wanted the peace of mind. And so we splurged on the green passes. We experienced it for the first time. It was actually really nice. And so we might do it in the future, even if it's not peak time. But with the green passes, I did not have to worry. There were seats available for all of us to sit together. Maybe there was one time where we couldn't sit all two right close to each other. Maybe it's like two, one somewhere. I can't really remember, but honestly, we did not have a problem. So that was one of the things I was really, really glad I did. So if you are going in high peak time, I would recommend you looking into it and seeing if that cost difference is worth it for you for the peace of mind and knowing that there might be additional space and traveling in a little bit of luxury because treat yourself, right? And if you have any questions about any of this, drop it in the comments. Happy traveling. And no matter when you go, I think you're going to have a fabulous time.